So I want to give you an update on Donald Trump and the trade war, and also to help you understand how these things are happening. First, you have to understand that Donald Trump, essentially, this is a reverse Robin Hood policy. It's steal from the poor to give to the rich. It's obvious as we look to the news every single day and we talk about it in our community, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't understand this stuff.
The same European negotiators who ran circles around the American presidents like Bush, Obama, and Biden for years, they finally faced real negotiators in Donald Trump and his team. We had Scott Bessent, Howard Lutnick, and Jamieson Greer.
Right, and so according to Fox, like, these are the best people of all time, and they use these really weird photos of them, especially the one of Bessent. If you guys know who that is, we talk about him on the channel, but it's like heavy Photoshop. But this is the kind of stuff that they pull. They basically say, hey, this is your deities, these are your Lord and Saviors, you should follow these guys. Watch some more and you'll see some sexist tricks here.
All sharp, all supremely successful, all experienced. Well, who did Biden have negotiating? Well, Gina Raimondo and Janet Yellen? I mean, dealing with NATO? We have Vance and Rubio. Who did they have? Tony Blinken. Had to change his depends when he was meeting with the Chinese leaders. And Obama, of course, had Hillary Clinton. So it's a wonder we survived at all with those characters in place.
Right? And so that's the kind of stuff they put out there. It's a wonder we survived it all. And if you see the imagery that they do, so they use these heavily Photoshopped images of Trump's trade team, right? Bessent, Greer, and Lutnick, which we showed you guys several times on the channel who they really are, and you can see for yourself. And then what they'll do, they'll be like, wow, look at Biden. He just had a bunch of women, but we got men. See, we got men, right? They're going a really sexist route. And then when they'll mention, say, a male person in Biden's thing, they won't show that picture, which is interesting. And then they'll figure out a way to talk about Hillary in one way or another. It's always Hillary.
So I sat down with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick to discuss the president's goals during this trip and news of a check that might be coming to your mailbox.
So here's the headline on that. Senator Josh Hawley introduces bill to send tariff rebate check to Americans. And they're saying they're floating an idea of $600 per adult and child to American families, kind of like stimulus checks. Like President Trump proposed, my legislation would allow hardworking Americans to benefit from the wealth that Trump's tariffs are returning to this country. And my personal thoughts on this is it's all the shell game. I wouldn't necessarily hold my breath on this stuff. And also these small stimulus checks is nothing in compared to cutting your healthcare, education, and safeties for you as a consumer.
Mr. Secretary, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Great to be here.
Okay, August 1st, that deadline is coming within a matter of days. Will there be any more grace period, any more extensions, and what deals are closest to getting done at this point?
Okay, so no extensions, no more grace periods. August 1st, the tariffs are set. They'll go into place. Customs will start collecting the money, and off we go. Obviously, after August 1st, people can still talk to President Trump. I mean, he's always willing to listen.
Now, if you understand what they're doing here, they give you a little teaser. Guys, there could be a check in the mail for you, right? They're trying to basically like, hey, there's going to be a stimulus money. Look at all this money we're collecting, and you're going to get some of it. But what's really going on, if you understand how tariffs work, again, imported goods come into the country, right? American importers are going to pay this tax, and then essentially they're going to pass the price on to you. So your prices are going to go up at Walmart, et cetera.
And when we asked in our Fox News polling how people are feeling about things, the president is underwater by double digits on the economy, on inflation, and tariffs. And they may be reacting to reports like this one from the Yale Budget Lab, estimating that Americans now face the highest tariff rate since 1910, an average cost of $2,800 per household this year. So you keep saying Americans are going to love these deals. They're very skeptical and they're worried at this point.
Well, I think you'll see as they flow through the market. But what's going to happen is very few products are actually going to move their price. And basically $700, $800 billion, maybe it's possible we get near $1 trillion of revenue will come into the United States of America, reducing our deficit. And what do you think is paying for no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, right?
And then they start distracting you. So the question is basically, your prices are going to go up at Walmart and other things, right? And Americans are feeling uneasy about that, right? And we're not even talking about like healthcare cuts. We're just talking about hey, your prices are going to go up. And Lutton is like, well, you're going to get no tax on tips, and who's going to pay for that? And then we're going to get like trillions of dollars coming in the country. But it's like how do people fall for this stuff? That they're raising, tariffs, you're going to end up paying higher prices. I just want to make this really clear, because sadly people fall for these smoke and mirror stuff. And it's like, this guy's obviously a used car salesperson, right? And then you could take a look at what his boss is talking about.
That was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth. And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island. And I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island.
So now he's talking about whether or not he went to Epstein Island. It's ridiculous, right? And he refers to it as being a privilege, which is frankly sick. But that's who these people are. That's why I just wanted to show you. Just want to show you who these people are. They put up sort of these images of themselves being like deities, gods, your savior. They're asked direct questions. Hey, costs are going to go up on Americans. What do you think? Oh, well, you're all going to be rich. Look at the trillions of dollars of tax revenue. And it's like, who's going to pay that? It's like, you're going to pay that. It's really weird. They get you to celebrate this stuff, and then they'll try to hide about, that we're getting more information about this Epstein stuff, and they'll try to hide that.
So what are you saying?
Well, I was just saying, he's out there.
Get to your point, Dana.
He's there running circles around world leaders, right?
Yeah.
He's just like running laps around them. On America's Newsroom today, we were fortunate enough finally to get a press conference, because usually they're later in the day. And we just had, for over an hour, he's just answering questions. What, you got a question, you got a question. The world press has never seen anything like it. I do think some of the devil's in the details. We'll see on a couple of things. For example, NATO, they're playing some little tricks to say, oh, well, this is counting towards our 5% because it was.
So what they're talking about here is essentially Trump will set these unrealistic, expectations and unrealistic things. And then when, these things don't happen, they're going to pretend that other countries are cheating Trump. That's how they're going to paint this. And let me give you an example where Trump lies about something, and then we finally hear the truth, and you're like, oh, wow, it's definitely not as good as what Trump had mentioned. So before we talk about this, where Trump takes a Sharpie to that poster board that Lutnick had prepared, and Trump's like, hey, it's going to be $500 billion from Japan, right? This came out from the Wall Street Journal today regarding that money, because this is something that we've like, okay, so where are they getting said money? Do they even have said money? Wall Street Journal, U.S. promised windfalls from Japan deal. Tokyo has other ideas. And as it turns out from in Japan, they're saying, well, maybe the investment will only be 1% to 2% that's coming from Akazawa, and the rest will be maybe loans and loan guarantees. And then someone else was saying, okay, even if Japan were to give said loans to U.S. projects, they'll make money on it, meaning Japan will make money on it, charging interest. So it's like, okay, that's a very, very different than how Trump has portrayed it as Japan's just going to give you a bunch of money and USA is going to profit. It doesn't, because that stuff doesn't make sense, and no one would ever go with that. And then part of also what's going on in the Trump land, right? So you have that Fox News put out, a bunch of nonsense. If you call them out, they will now try to prosecute you or something. This is just breaking this a few minutes ago. U.S. Justice Department files misconduct complaint against a judge. And this was the one that had to do with the people that they deported to Venezuela, they were from Venezuela, deported to El Salvador. That was the Abrego thing. And the judge said that Trump basically, the people moved the planes out in bad faith. If you remember, there was 3 planes. They were like left early, and the judge said to turn around, and then they crossed the line, the international line. So, we can't come back. But there's a bunch of series of things that they did that were disingenuous, and that's why Borsberg were saying they were in bad faith. And then now Pam Bondi's like, today, at my direction, the Justice Department filed a misconduct complaint against U.S. District Court Judge James Boasberg for making improper public comments about President Trump and the administration. These comments have undermined the integrity of the judiciary, and we will not stand for that. So as you can see, the Trump people are now trying to intimidate judges, which is frankly disgusting. I'll just leave it at that. But this is sort of why you have to call this stuff out and identify the tactics that they're using to not fall for these tricks. This is also them over at Fox News.
I'm going to resist the urge to gloat.
Okay.
Just kidding. There were people around this table Their names rhyme with Messica, who said that the tariffs were going to increase inflation in a massive way. They haven't. They said this trade war was going to align the world against the United States. It was going to be China and the world aligned against the United States. That didn't happen. It was the exact opposite. They said, because now, what did we give up?
The right to have
I'm waiting for
affordable
someone
European
to
goods.
give me an answer. We didn't give up anything with any of these negotiations with the Pacific Rim companies or the EU.
See, and you can see here, like, much of American TV, it's not just Fox, but much of American TV, these aren't real conversations. This is all scripted. When they have debates in American TV, one side's giving a checklist of stuff that they have to say, the other side's giving a checklist of stuff that they have to say. They don't actually talk to each other. It's just all about fighting. So I'm not going to listen to you. I just got to go down to checkpoint, list number 2 that my producer gave me. Okay, now it's your turn to say checklist point number 2. Okay, now we'll go to number 3, and it's not a real conversation. And so, that's why I'm happy to have you guys in the community. Like, literally, we just talk about stuff. I show you stuff with what's going on, and I share my opinion, and I read through all of your comments all the time, and it's absolutely fantastic. So I do appreciate that, because like in this day and age, you can be made to feel crazy when you live in this Trumpy land where, like, your costs are going up, and they keep telling you, no, it's not going up. It's nuts.
But if it weren't going to be a clear line to raising your individual prices, why is Donald Trump, and Josh Hawley now wants to get in on it, talking about rebate checks for the American public? They want another opportunity for Donald Trump to smack his signature, which has been all over the place, as we've seen recently,
not
on
with an
another
auto pen.
rebate, not with an auto pen, on rebate checks, so that the American public won't hate him for the fact that he is raising their cost of living. And that is what is going on here.
All right. You have an issue with what she just said.
I do, because President Trump has a very well-stocked arsenal. But the greatest tool, in my view, is trade. And it has allowed him to even make peace deals now. He has the secondary tariffs on Putin now, and instead you got 2 weeks, pal, to get this deal done.
Wow. You got 2 weeks, right? And this is the TV show. This is the TV show they're pulling. So now over at Fox, they're floating, hey guys, you're going to get a check in the mail. One person calls out, I think this check is a bunch of bogus nonsense. And then suddenly the dialogue goes on, when am I getting my check? When am I getting my check? And then they'll just keep throwing out these words over and over again. In 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks. Keep watching in 2 weeks. And let's dangle it. It's a TV show. The same way they'll say, like, tune in next week to see who gets voted off the island. It's funny, it's sick, it's sad, all at the same time. But this is the USA. And also, unfortunately, this today, we have some news of a shooting, which I'll show you guys.
This is a Fox News alert. There's an active shooter situation in Midtown Manhattan. Mayor Eric Adams says don't go outside if you are near Park Avenue and East 51st Street. Joining me now on the phone is Eric Shawn, live from the scene. Eric, what can you tell us? All these reports are flying across the internet. At this point, we have very little confirmed, but I know you're working on that.
Yes, Laura. I'm right now across the street from the shooting scene, and the preliminary reports that I have is that the shooter is down. The shooter is dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He apparently had some tactical equipment. The mass shooting.
So there was a shooting, and it was actually at the Blackstone building. I was preparing this video. I read through all the financial news and share with you. And this was actually the headline today in the Wall Street Journal. Shots fired at the New York building housing Blackstone's office. And it's I usually don't talk about, like, sort of, I don't know, say this kind of news in USA, but I wanted to bring it up because you have to understand to understand the American predicament. Like, how do people fall for Fox News or Donald Trump or whatever influencers out there, and it could be from the left or the right, is because people are desperate, and they sort of make decisions and things based on emotion. Like, people are angry nonstop, and it's frustrating to see. And I don't know the background of this particular thing at Blackstone. I just know Blackstone, is a global investment firm. I'm just showing you guys, if you never looked this up before, we got $1 trillion under assets under management. The details says Blackstone employees shared messages over email and Microsoft Teams that there was a shooter in the lobby and warned each other not to go downstairs. Oh, great. On Microsoft Teams, employees shared that they were hiding and locking themselves in offices.
This is someone that the police have been obviously looking for through this building after witnesses reported seeing a gunman walk into the building with this long-powered rifle. It caused some great concern here, as you can imagine. And
then this is more, 2 shot, including officer outside office building, Midtown Manhattan. This is a picture. I don't know if this is confirmed yet that this is on ABC News, but I did see it at multiple sources. So I have a feeling this is probably what it was. And this is some guy walking around with the rifle. And so then you have Republicans who will say, guys, because all these people have guns, you need to buy guns more. And then the problem keeps expanding. And so, for example, this is a member of Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is what she's putting just a couple days ago on her social media. And what her social media says is, wake up, someone's in the house, don't come in uninvited, and we're celebrating owning guns. That's the USA, and I wanted to put it all in context of sort of how we come about with the Donald Trump. You have someone who's doing the reverse Robin Hood, rob from the poor, give it to the wealthy. People then become desperate. You have policies that hurt the working class, that hurt poor people effectively. Donald Trump just laughs in people's face as he puts money in his pocket, whatever scams, stuff like that. Him and his buddies keep getting wealthier. People get more desperate. They then turn to various, news outlets to look for a savior because they don't understand what's going on in the world. And again, a lot of your problems are unfair policies. And then they're fed just nonstop lies of like, hey, Trump's going to save you. You're going to get a stimulus check in the mail. Maybe you'll get $100 from Donald Trump. And you're like, oh my God, I love Trump. I got $100. But all the while, you're going to be losing your education, your consumer protections, your health care, any number of things that would be beneficial to society because they want a world that's essentially like a Squid Game. And so I know it's not fun to talk about this stuff, but I just want to tell you the truth and sort of how this stuff works. And when I see it on a constant daily basis, sometimes I just have to speak out of like, how can this happen? And this is essentially why it's so important just to focus on truth, guys. And I feel frustrated of like, hey, I just have to tell you the truth. And it's like, it's crazy that I even have to say that because I'll also tell you the truth. The stuff that they pull on Fox News, it would be illegal here in Korea. I used to work at the radio station. If you don't know, my wife's sister is a reporter. My wife's father also worked at the network news. And so I know all about this stuff. It's illegal to just like purposely put out their stuff on the air that's just outright lies. And the stuff that Fox News does quite a bit, misleading and lies. So it's not just Fox, it's often much of American news, and it's deeply frustrating. So that's what's going on, and I just want to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.